Hello, hello. I'm Renata Yanuszewska coming to you from the village of Lion's Head in Canada. Today's Salon topic is taking stock. By this, we mean what is the future and the direction of Techspressionism and how to incorporate things that we haven't done yet going forward. I'm joined by Lee Schnaiberg in Montreal and Michael Pierre Price in Arizona. We have 5 points to base our discussion on. We hope to have adopted one of these, at least one of these, by the end of the meeting. And briefly, I'm just going to give you the names of the 5 topics. They'll be explained by Michael Lee after I finish. So the first would be tutorials, the second outreach, the third Insta hashtag, the fourth live things, meaning in real life exhibitions, and the fifth virtual things. And I'm glad to see that Tommy's here because I'm going to call on you, if that's okay, to explain Brooklyn 2024 when we get to the live, the in real life things. So without oh yes, one more thing. We're going to have artists showing in between the 5 points. So I have 5 artists at the moment, starting with Anton in Russia, who's joining us for the very first time. Welcome. We have Deanne, who's going to join us, and she's coming a bit late. She has an appointment. We may have Sahar. She has to go to another city, so we don't know. Then we have Cynthia Rubin. Vivian from Greece may come, and then Susan Detroy, if we have time for her. So I'm going to hand it over to Michael to explain tutorials, and after he finishes that, we'll have presentation of artwork for 5 minutes by Anton, and I will be keeping time. So I'll warn you when there's 1 minute left.
Thanks, Renata. Wow, it's kind of amazing, just to sort of set the stage for today's discussions and presentations. We've been a thing for 3 years now, which is astounding to me. Born out of the pandemic in a lot of ways, I think. I don't know, if Colin could have imagined where we would be 3 years on. I'm guessing probably not. So I think that this idea of taking stock for me is we're here. We have created so many things. The exhibition last year was phenomenal. The amount of work, the beauty of the space, and just all the artists that came together internationally is just something that is spectacular. We've had online shows, we've had artist interviews, we have a Wikipedia page. The Techspressionism page is such a repository of so much that we've done. Davo made a great suggestion to record these Salon meetings, which I think has been something really spectacular for this group. So we're here. We're here, and we have a body, a history of what that means to each one of us individually and collectively as an international community, group, social sculpture, however you want to see what Techspressionism means. So where do we go from here? Do we just keep doing the same things, or can we look to see what this community brings and where we can go from here? Now that we're out of the pandemic, hopefully, and we're now each engaged in the world, where do we take this? So one of the ideas that I had was this notion of tutorials or workshops. We've had themes for our Salon meetings, and in those meetings, oftentimes we have talked about interesting topics based on our artwork. And for me, ideas like, how do we create some of these works? What goes into it? And my idea would be for us to have meetings, whether they're replacing a salon every quarter or as an adjunct on off week meetings, that I think we can discuss. But ideas around who's doing what with AI and what techniques. So the idea would be to have several artists, maybe 3 or 4 during one of these meetings, one of these workshop meetings, to actually show us how you do what you do. Ideas around AI, NFTs, AR, animations, things along that nature where we can learn from each other. Use of technology, thinking about how Tommy uses the Raspberry Pi and how Lee uses his technique with his cell phone. And so I think we have within this group a huge body of knowledge that we can share with one another, and as well bring in new artists, because this then becomes not only a sharing group of what our art is, but how we make our art. And that's kind of the genesis for this idea that I wanted to bring to the group today.
Thank you very much, Michael. One thing I wanted to mention was we've adopted a policy of letting the mute to come off everybody's when the person's finished presenting, so that we can say a minute or 2 of praise. So if we could do that after Anton presents. The stage is yours, Anton. I think, yeah.
Hi, hello everyone. Nice to be here, finally. First, I'd like to introduce myself a little bit. My name is Anton. I'm a digital artist. I was born in Kazakhstan. I was living in Russia. I mean, I think when I knew about Techspressionism, this is why probably on the website still Russia there. But right now I'm living in Georgia for 2 years already. Yeah, so I just wanted to tell that I'm doing NFT and coding, creative coding actually. And when in the very beginning, when I was still kind of hesitating about my art journey and wasn't sure if I'm like on the right way, the Techspressionism movement show up somewhere on my feed in Instagram. And this is how I realized that it is also possible to make art, like it is an art when you do it digitally. And this is what gave me reassurance in my way. And also another big thing that through Techspressionism, I also knew about NFTs and realized that abstract artists selling their artwork through blockchain and NFT. And this is what inspired me to start my NFT journey that has really changed my life. And since then, I've been following Techspressionism movement, and I'm really happy that this time I have an opportunity to join and to actually see what's going on and to see all of you. It's really exciting for me. Yeah. Okay. I want to share the screen. Unfortunately, I don't have that much presentation because I was constantly moving during the last 2 weeks. Searching for apartment. So, but I will show you my latest work. And okay, let me share screen. Do you see it right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and I also, okay, let me share with you. Mm, sorry. Okay, I will also share the link to. Okay, sorry, I cannot. Okay, I'll share it with you later. So this is my work that is called Essential. This is code and animation. This is live rendering piece that is really inspired by color field and abstract painting. This is like a piece that I created for myself for sort of color meditation. And this is what I actually love doing the most as my art. And I used to create artworks with graphic programs and AI that was also a color field, but I was really annoyed by the restrictions of AI and video formats, and I was thinking of the ways to create something with code that would be moving and light. So yeah, so last year I started learning creative coding, and this work is, I think, the closest to the works I was doing with graphic programs. Yeah.
Anton,
Yeah.
we have a couple of minutes left. If you could.
Yeah, I mean, I will share the. So this piece is kind of really inspired by James Sarrell, and I was researching his works a lot, and was thinking like channeling him maybe from my works too. And yeah, so I will share a link to live version, and hopefully you will enjoy it on your devices. It works on every device, like mobile and videos everywhere. Yeah, so I'm really excited to be here. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. We're really happy that you were able to come today.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. In the interest of the time, I'm going to ask that we just move on now. I know I said we could give feedback, but it's just hard to keep time. So I'm going to ask that Michael talk about the outreach to college to universities concept, and that you could put your notes in the chat for Anton's work. And once again, Anton, thank you for coming today.
Okay, so I realize that a number of our prominent members here in our Techspressionism community are either working at colleges or universities teaching, or have pretty strong connections with universities, colleges, and other institutions of learning. And my feeling is that as more and more universities are providing avenues for learning about creating art with new technologies all the time, that this might be a really good outlet for us to provide our potential expertise to universities, colleges, other institutions where we might be able to be guest lecturers or other avenues for teaching, where basically Techspressionism could have a cadre of our members either listed as potential folks that could be utilized for those types of programs to do online either guest lectures or tutorials and things of that nature. And for me, this is another way for us to possibly bring in new blood that would help strengthen the community and also provide potential new avenues for us to grow by bringing in new artists, new members. Again, not only here in the US, but certainly internationally as well.
Thank you, Michael. The next person to present will be Lee. And Lee, it's 5 minutes, and I'll let you know when there's a 1 minute left. You're muted. Lee, you are muted.
I'm so sorry. Hi, I'm Lee. I'm from Canada, Montreal. And I wanted to talk with everybody about an issue, which is that we haven't had a show this year, virtual. We had the amazing show that Colin put on last year, but it's been a year now, and it's time that we should do another show. And I think that we probably have access to the matrix still. Colin, nod, yeah, or give a thumbs up if we do. Thank you. Okay, so we can build a museum and have a show. We need somebody to spearhead it. We also need a couple of people to volunteer to be not curators, but a jury, and then somebody to help operate it so that we know where to send out the call for people to submit and pick a time and a date and theme, I guess, of this, like somebody to run it. So I'm hoping somebody's going to raise their hand at this point and be like, hey, that sounds great. I'm interested in putting a little bit of time. Maybe I can cajole everybody, or maybe it's not somebody right now, but if maybe people have ideas about it. We still have how many minutes? 3 minutes, Renata?
Yep.
So we got 3 minutes. If everybody takes off the mic, if people have anything to say about a show, any ideas that they have, they're for it or against it. Colin, if you're like, hey, don't do that. That's like what I did, and that's my thing. Or do we wait to try to hear from other people who aren't here? Any ideas? I'd love to hear from everybody.
Well, one thought that I had, was that the NFT Now show that was one of our first exhibitions in Kunstmatrix. When you click on the piece, it brings up information, but also had a link to the actual minted NFT on whatever platform it was on. And the NFT space has grown considerably, since that time. And I think that that's something that could be a possible focus, is that, it could be an NFT show where the work could be presented on the walls of a virtual gallery like we did NFT Now. So you don't need to connect with a wallet like a lot of other platforms like on Cyber. You need to connect with a wallet to view it. So you could just come in a browser and then, you click the piece. I don't know if you guys have seen the NFT Now show, but anyone who hasn't, it's on the exhibitions tab of the Techspressionism site. And then, it could link off to NFTs minted on pretty much any platform, and not just limited to Ethereum. So, that's one thought, not necessarily, it's just putting it out there.
Well, yeah, we definitely should. That to me, that makes total sense. Any artist who has their work at the show, you can click and buy it if you want. I don't know, it makes total sense. But anybody wanna, if we had like 3 people that were running it, did anybody want to take a third of the role? If not, we can Hey, Tommy, put up his hand. Hey, Tommy,
Hey.
and Tommy, I'll be another
So,
third. Oh, are you volunteering a third, or you just wanted to talk?
it's dangerous when you volunteer to talk and don't say you'll take a third. But I'm thinking, I'm hoping, that I could put this in the context of what I'm planning in a year as well. And maybe if we find people that want to curate and help select images for this show, I was actually thinking maybe we could have it within a virtual space similar in design to the space I'm planning on installing our show. I have a Mozilla Hubs space. Mozilla, the people who make Firefox have a 3D space that they have open sourced, and it's called Hubs, HUBS. And so they have a tool for building spaces called Spoke, SPOKE. I'll send these to you. And I built out a virtual space. It might not be as polished as Kunstmatrix though. So I'm wondering, is this something that we're dedicated to Kunstmatrix and the NFT thing, or are we just really thinking about creating a virtual place where people can gather and look at stuff in a virtual way? Because that's what Hubs allows. It has a whole avatar thing, audio, through your avatar kind of possibility of that kind of sense of space. So I would argue for that. One, I guess, and it looks like Steven's happy to be a third if we're doing this. So yeah, I'd also push towards, if we could do it, supporting open source platforms, experimenting a little bit beyond the, what we've done already. And I think it's been great what we've done already. And if someone wants to do that, great. I don't mean to stop you from using Kunstmatrix more, right, Colin? Great. But I'd be interested in collaborating with Stephen maybe, and we get a third person in to work with us on this. Absolutely. And I view it as sort of a building block to this 2024 show in the summer that I'm working with Sung Jin Lee and Giovanna Sun co-curating already.
Wow.
So
That's
we're working.
amazing.
Is that this?
I like the idea. Like one of the things that when we were talking about before,
Brooklyn.
we mentioned how it might not be Kunstmatrix. Maybe there's other ones that have more of a fun cachet, and it sounds like that's what you're describing. I've had some fun times going to VR chat galleries that people were building. So I know that you can have a really nice time, and you don't have to be on a headset, but you can be. But I think that's a great idea, and I'd love to chat with you about it afterwards. And Stephen, you were raising your hand. Did you want to say something about it?
Well, I'd like to participate. I'd be glad to be a third, either a quote curator or whatever role is needed. I don't have a lot of specialized knowledge, but part of what I'd be out to do is learn more and participate fully.
That's awesome. I think that's my time, right?
Yeah, thank you very much. If Michael wants to, if you could, sorry, I think we should have another presentation. It's just that Sahar's not here. So Cynthia, Rubin, could you present for us, please?
Sure. I'm going to do something
Thanks.
brave, which is to try doing this on 2 monitors. So let's see if that works. It usually sometimes in Keynote, it's a bit of a drag. You're probably just seeing. Okay, great. So I wanted to start by mentioning the co-working sessions that we've been doing. Are people seeing the monitor that's not the prompting monitor, but the full screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. So what I hate about Keynote when you have 2 monitors, but we've been doing these weekly co-working sessions on Tuesday at the same time at noon, but every week. And everything I'm going to show today, everything that I'm doing has come out of these wonderfully supportive sessions. So I hope that people who are interested will join us. It's very informal and it's a way we've been getting to know each other. So I'm going to go quickly through what I've been working on. And for the people who've been coming to these sessions, might be a little repetitive. I showed these last time, they were under the microscope. This is pretty much straight under the microscope on the left, colorized, and then on the right, colorized more. And then I took that into Night Cafe. I'm in this show where people are supposed to do things about Picasso. I don't really like Picasso, so it's been a huge challenge for me. And it turned out that Night Cafe already had a thing in there to use Les Mademoiselles des Avignon. So I just did that, and that's what it came up with. And then I started playing around with different colors with it. And although I loved all of these, I'm not ready to embrace the straight AI, which is another discussion, but I was having a little trouble with it. The little cubes you see are actually salt crystals, and the guys in the middle, this one I already worked on, I think. And then this is a print I got where actually the breaking the border is in the print. I did that deliberately, but then there's drawing in there. The little circle around the orange is drawing. And so I felt, okay, this is okay. But then I went in and I took shots of details of it, and I got all of these little prints made that I was going to play with some more. And this is basically one of the finished pieces that I've come up with. The way that I got there was I took the piece in the upper left, the one in the bottom, and then I came up with this combo. And I have to say, I did all of this during our co-working session. There was like something being with people that gave me the courage to say, okay, I'm going to take these pieces and I'm just going to cut them up, and I'm going to glue on it, and I'm going to draw on it, and I'm going to go wild. And here's one where I went really wild. I'm still not sure how I feel about it, and I'm not sure which direction it goes. I think this is the finished one, but I haven't. Be happy to know what people think about which direction looks better on these. So make a little note in the chat, the one on the left or the one on the right, if you have a preference, because it's been driving me crazy. And this is the last one I'm going to show you, where I also took that little piece and I played with it. And actually last night when I was fixing my photographs for these presentations, there was an irritating dot in the middle of the diatom on the left. And so then I took this little teeny little diatom out of another piece and stuck it in. And it was like, wow, now it's done. I feel really great about it. You know, there it is by itself. So that's all that I was going to show today. I really wanted to make sure to stay in my 5 minutes, and I'm trying to, but I was going to show one more picture of co-working, but I didn't get it inserted in time. So here it is. If anybody has any questions about what we're doing on Tuesdays, let me know, or let Cynthia, the other Cynthia, it's the two Cynthias working together. And it's been a really great, and one of the real treats has been getting to know Cynthia. But I think those of us who come, we've really gotten to know each other well. And about half the people who are here now have come at least once. So I was hoping to get up a bunch of different pictures and show everyone who's been coming. Maybe everybody who's been coming, you can just like raise your hand so people can see. That includes you, Lee. Okay. Yeah. So it's been and Nina and Karen comes like every time, and it's really been Vernata came a few times. So okay, so that's it for me. And okay,
Thank you very much, Cynthia. I like the one on the right.
okay, people are saying the one. Okay, I'm gonna go back to that.
Me too. One on the right. Yeah, the pastel one is very gorgeous.
Yes.
I just wanted to add, for the people that are watching this on a recording, or if you're in the room, there is a link on the Techspressionism homepage for virtual co-working. So if you're interested in registering and attending these sessions, go to techspressionism.com, scroll down a little bit, and there's a graphic you can click on virtual co-working, and that'll allow you to register for the Zoom and get the link via email.
Okay, and I can just quickly say what we do is we sign on, we say 30 seconds, but it's actually a minute. People say what they're going to do. we work for an hour with our cameras on, but on mute, so you can listen to whatever music you want to, and then we come back and we show what we did. And it's really wonderful.
What's the total length, Cynthia?
Depends on the number of people. It's always under an hour and a half.
Okay.
And if it's like, sometimes there have only been 3 people, and that's okay. You know, it just gives you the boost. So.
And the other thing that should be said is, you'd say, well, gee, it's only an hour or an hour and 15 minutes. But what happens is you start thinking before the event and getting together, and you start making decisions about what to work on. And for me, I end up doing more work later or the next day. So it's a real boost in that way.
Yeah. And I see Sahar is here now. She's been one of the regulars too.
Great.
So,
thank you very much, Cynthia. So that's 12 noon Eastern time every Tuesday.
right. And, you know, if a huge number of people, if a few people want to do it at a different time, it can be organized. We made up a separate Zoom account for it, so it doesn't interfere with other Techspressionist Zoom. So we can share that with anyone who wants to organize a different time, like an evening time or middle of the night for people in Australia time. Okay. Great.
I'm not sure if Sahar is ready. Why don't we give her a bit of time to get ready? Deanne is here. Are you ready to present, Deanne?
Sure.
Okay.
Just let me get myself organized here a little bit.
Okay. I'm going to let you know at the 4-minute mark.
Okay.
Great.
Okay. So I've been participating in the Techspressionism co-working sessions as well. So the first time I went, I just thought, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. So I had been messing around with doing some collages, analog collages, trying to find materials that don't bother me. And so I decided I would take a photo of one of them and upload it and just mess around and procreate with it. So this was my first effort. And then that sort of became a theme for the following sessions, was I would work on, find something that I had been working on, upload it, and then add some digital elements to it once I was while I was working in the session. I find the sessions to be really helpful for actually sitting down and doing work, because I can always find something in my house that needs to be done other than making art. So these have been really great because I have it's like an appointment. So I sit down and I get work done. And as Cynthia said, you start thinking about things beforehand. So sometimes I will do some collaging beforehand just to kind of get ready for the session. If I'm not super prepared that week, then I will just do collaging during the session. So this is just one of the collages I made while I was during the session that I worked on. I just turned it into black and white on my camera. And this was the last one I worked on. So I had tried dyeing some fabric with ink and then doing some stitching into the ink, but the ink was bothering me. So then I photocopied it, photocopied the fabric, and then imported it into my Procreate, and then was working on this. Is what I did yesterday. And so I want to thank Cynthia for organizing this, because it's been super useful for me.
Thank you.
Your work is fascinating.
Yeah.
Really beautiful.
Beautiful collage.
I like that it's spare, and it's not a lot of clutter. It's spare and strategic in the placement of the shapes and the textures. So thank you for sharing.
Thanks. I love seeing other people's work that's like super detailed and complicated, and then I try to do that myself, and I can't. I just always end up taking stuff out. So.
Yeah. So could you share what are some of your thoughts in creating, for example, the first two pieces that you shared? What were some of your thoughts in during the creative process?
Really, I'm just looking at interesting shapes and shadow and stuff that I can play off of. I never really have an idea when I start working on anything, so I use like when I draw, I automatic drawing, so I always just start out with trying to find something that I like and then building off of that. Usually I'm very into tones, so shadow has and light and dark have a lot to do with it. I really like stitching right now, and if you look at my own Instagram, who I follow, there's a lot of people who are doing like hand stitching work, and so I've been trying to figure out how to incorporate that more into my pieces. So that's a thought that I always have now when I'm working on it, is how can I incorporate the stitch into it. I invariably always turn it into black and white. Sometimes there's a little bit of color in there, but not often. And the first pieces I was working on for collaging, for some reason they all seem to kind of look like boats, and I don't really know why, because I don't live anywhere near water and I don't like being on the water. So it just was sort of this weird sort of thing that came out of it, and then I just sort of went with it because it's, you know, just what comes out of your subconscious, I guess, or something. But yeah, those are sort of the things that happen when I'm working.
Yeah, well, water is a symbol of nations in the human collective subconscious, and it's also a symbol of life and rebirth. And so maybe the current turmoil of our world might have found its way into your work.
I have a teenager, and she's, you know, contemplating life as an adult, and it's a bit stressful right now with, you know, seeing everything that's going on in the world. So we've had conversations about that. So you never know, that kind of stuff sort of creeps in.
Yeah,
right?
It does. It's how you problem solve.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to also mention about seeing Deanne last year at this time out in Edmonton, and the space where she lives is extraordinary. She's outside the city, and it's a beautifully open sky. And I think that openness, and also that idea of north that Canadians have, because we live with ice and snow for so much of the year, especially Edmonton gets a really long winter. And that might have something to do with the black and white and the spare quality of the work.
Yeah, I'm definitely a prairie girl. I love my open skies. I don't like being surrounded by too much stuff.
The next topic for discussion is the idea of a show in real life. And a few salons ago, I'm not sure how many, but Tommy Mintz came up with, showed us a 5-minute tour of Clive Holden's show at the Kingsborough campus of the college where he teaches in Brooklyn. And then he came to propose an idea of having a show in the same space in the summer of 2024. And I'm really excited about the idea, because he also mentioned that there may be computers in the space itself where people can interact with the work in a virtual way. And I'm also interested, for my contribution, to put still works that you can hover your phone over using an app like ArtVive to have them come to life using that technology. So maybe, Tommy, you could talk a little bit about this Brooklyn 2024.
I'm trying to manage two screens at once. I'm going to try to share from my laptop here, because I have everything kind of organized, and talk through my iPad and see if this just works. So, oops. Oh, here's I just shared in the chat, by the way, a virtual, you know, this is Mozilla Hub's version of the Kingsborough Art Museum space that I built out thinking about a previous show. So we could strip this down to the walls and reinstall our work. So this is previous exhibition there. So the current exhibition there right now is, do we have this working? Sorry, everything seems to go really slow on my computer when I open up Zoom. So I apologize for the lag. So the Kingsborough Art Museum is a big square space, 42 feet by 42 feet. Two walls are covered 14 feet up in, is this showing up as I go? Yeah. Oops. And hopefully this is a video, not playing, sorry. Here's an installation of Clive Holden's piece, which is a very long rear projection screen that we have hanging with fishing line, basically, and a very thin wooden frame atop it. And I'd like to reinstall this piece and fill the walls with work and have some tables with computers and have another screen. I expect it to be dimmed down like this, but I'd like to have lighting on individual pieces. We could have clip lights or something small. I'm also thinking about how to handle audio, whether we could have small speakers in tables or parabolic speakers. I know there's a number of us who are musicians and are interested in sharing audio. So, and I'm hoping to avoid headphones just for sanitary reasons. Don't get me started. So this is what's there right now. It gives you a sense of Clive's work, which he was in the Southampton show. He's actually heading to Paris right now to mount another thing. Anyway, this is the outside of the building. We're sort of a modernist 1960s brick bunker style, if you will. And here's a view of campus. They're hopefully going to get this digital screen working in the front. Maybe we could get some work on that, thinking about that. We also have, oops, that's my foot heading to campus. We have prints that we put out out on the public space. This is the street front that you know, people come, here we are, to our campus from. So here we have a big gate. People enter the campus, but we're allowed to promote our image there. So I know we have like promotional image. We could also think about that. Think about like, you know, what it means to have, oops, here, we're back to here. So this is a sense of the space. We have these very nice walls, really. So I'm working with Sungjin, there I am, Sungjin Lee, who runs the Digiana studio. Oh, here's an elevated view in Long Island City right now. And he's been also coordinating live events. We're planning on doing live programming of, is that working? I feel like this is stuttering through a video. I'm sorry if that's lagging and not showing, but I'm hoping to just give you another perspective on this space. This is me up in a lift, sort of giving a pan. Let me see if that'll play the second time, if I do it this time. It seems to, I'm sorry, it plays on my computer. I don't see it coming through on the stream, but move on. Here's another elevated view. So we have adjoining lecture halls that we're planning on doing some, oops, this is a friend who I'm asking to be in the show as well. They etch, they use etching techniques to create giant boards that are beautiful, to trees and stuff. And here's some other work I'm soliciting for the show. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. Hokkaido cheese tarts. This is the area though. This is Brighton Beach. We're on the water. It's a big, beautiful campus. We have the opportunity to propose, that's a car accident outside campus. We have sculptures around campus. I suggest looking at the place on Google Maps or Apple, you know, look at the satellite view or the walk. Here's another set of work that I'm planning on asking to be in the show. This is Mike Romeo, Night Shining. He does sculpture. I'd like to have some physical pieces. I know we've had some of my physical pieces in the past. Oh, this is food in the neighborhood. Come to the neighborhood. There's really interesting food in South Brooklyn. This is a wonderful hot table and plav. Make your own plav bowl. So I'm just giving you a sense. Oh, and we have lots of fish. There's actually a lot of nature around. Right around Jamaica Bay is an estuary. Oh, here's Sungjin Lee's work, which is here's some AR, augmented reality fashion that he's created with this model, Momo, and his work and filters. So I'm just giving you a sense of the stuff, like the range of stuff that I'm hoping to include. Here's the space filled with student work. You know, so we can actually get a lot of stuff in there and a lot of people fit in there, but we also have these adjoining spaces. Let me just show you my picture of other spaces. We have display cases that we could imagine putting prints into. This is in a main hallway on campus. Let me keep going through spaces. Here's a picture of campus from above. I don't know if we'll get a projector. My dream someday is to have a projector bright enough to project on that triangle building. Right? Isn't that a wild architecture thing? I'm sorry, I'm going the wrong way here. So I think that might be all of the pictures I have. Oh, here's, sorry, going back one. Here's this exterior space that we're planning on doing live events in, maybe having some music and other stuff. It's an amphitheater, and this is actually where they do graduation. They just have a big tent here, and thousands of people could fit in this space. So we're hoping to have one day of live programming is what oh, this is MoMA. I'm sorry, this is inspiration stuff. I'm just going to scroll through this. People, go see the show at MoMA. It might have closed already. This was the screen show. They had selfies. Screen show at MoMA. How did they install at MoMA? Binder clips and projectors. I love it. Sorry. So, you know, we go all different directions in thinking about how to display Techspressionism, I think, in a professional manner. MoMA had some very good, interesting solutions that we can lift a couple of these presentations from. I have a small budget for materials, for shipping. I'd love to have artists do presentations and, you know, live events, panel talks, that kind of thing, as well as these performances that Sungjin and the Brooklyn crowd. I met a couple of these people are doing. I'm just hoping I could find these other pictures of the Brooklyn people doing their wild stuff. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm running out of time here. But we do have a lot, I think, that's in the mix. And I'm going to ask everybody to submit work, you know, and I'd like to just have the widest variety of, you know, Techspressionism's, you know, broad range of facets of approaches. I don't know. I don't want to put words, you know, into people's mouths here at all as a co-curator. But it's an exciting opportunity, I think, to sort of continue what Colin began with the Southampton show. If anybody's interested in writing about these things, that would be greatly appreciated. You know, it's one of those things that I feel like some people are really good at, you know, describing this sort of ephemeral thing that I'm not so good at. I'm talking about. I'm going to stop sharing my screen at this point and see if that works. So, Renata, was there something that you wanted me to talk about in particular about that? We haven't opened up our call for artists yet. We're working on a Google form. I'm going to just make sure we don't have to send it twice. You know what I mean? we're ironing out our bugs in our call right now.
Yeah. Two questions I have. One is a rough idea of the dates.
The rough idea of the dates are July 14 or 17 through September 14 or 17. It's going to be the same day of the month. I think it might be the, don't quote me. One of those two.
Okay.
So
and
mid.
Okay. That's really nice to have that long a time. And as far as equipment and projectors and screens and all the display paraphernalia, how do we fund that? How does that get to happen?
So I've been writing grant proposals. This is kind of a grant-driven installation. And I've now applied for a couple grants and I've received one. Yes, so far I haven't received any no's yet, which is nice. But, you know, there's a bunch that are still like in process of whatever. So yeah, that's how I'm funding things. It's a little bit DIY. There's a place called Materials for the Arts in New York that recycles stuff. So if we have particular things that we want to build out of, you know, common office materials, or if we want a desk or tables or chairs or we've built that kind of stuff in the past, and you know, with found materials and low budget. I buy stuff at Home Depot and get reimbursed for my grants, basically, for building stuff often. That screen, you know, the material for the screen, I purchased a place in Secaucus that specializes in it. You know, we sort of put it together ourselves. I don't have any staff, really. We have a person who's the director of the museum space, and he's very supportive, but he doesn't have a budget. Although he's so happy with Clive's piece, by the way, and we just got a review. I need to post the review to the chat here. It's a very nice review. We might have budget for postcards and food for a reception or something like that through the auspices of the museum. I have money, I think, for materials enough to have an array of screens, some Mac Minis, some just nice $150, $200 monitors. You know, those are really nice these days, actually, and plenty of Raspberry Pis. I have those up the wazoo. You know, so we can really drive a bunch of different screens if we choose.
And as far as people helping you in any way, are you looking for helpers?
Sure. I mean, we're organizing right now a next meeting of the co-curators on a Sunday in October. And if anybody's interested in, helping out and thinking about, how to make this a good show, yeah, that'd be great. Email me. My email address.
Tommy, I put a note in the chat. I don't know if you caught it or not, but I can help in the background, health depending, certainly. So
fantastic. Yeah, I think this sort of putting together documents and calls for art, we don't have to all be in the same place. We could just totally organize. Space independent. That'd be great. Thank you.
Tommy, have you considered a fee for the call?
We have, and we rejected it because it's under the auspices of these Kingsborough Community College, just part of the City University of New York. Any money that we're handling has to come through one of two places, routed through our channels, if you will. And I'm not going to get into the weeds here.
Okay.
That's performance art and some other, magic mixed in. But what I found is it's worth just going for these approved funding sources, that will provide. And if people see, out there, there's a lot of nonprofits that will fund you if you have a nonprofit yourself that you're part of, and we are. So we receive funding from a foundation to, support our programs within the college. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. I've been going out and sending nice emails to people and describing what we're doing. And, sometimes it turns into something. So right now, I'm waiting to hear back on much more funding, actually. As I said, I don't want to get into the details, but I think it's plenty to cover the material expense. It's never going to be enough to reimburse artists for their time, that we put into our work. But it will be hopefully enough to defray all shipping expenses and make sure, we have publicity and a catalog, and, that it's worth everybody's participation as artists, and it'll be a real show. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Tommy. You were on the verge of saying your email.
I think I put it into the chat. Did I send it to you directly?
Yeah, I see it now.
Sorry, because I was chatting with Lee. Oh, Lee. Okay, thanks, Lee. Yes, we'll chat.
And just to answer a question I saw in the chat earlier, in this exhibition, there will be scope for a reel of works by artists who are in other countries.
Yes, we encourage submission. We will be encouraging submission from everybody around the world. We will figure out how best to display things as curators. I mean, that's going to be our job, is to figure out how to make sense of this, right, and organize it into a nice presentation and space. I do think that a lot of the work will be just on screen, right? We will have some very nice screens, and I think I'm going to build an array of 4 screens together that will fill a very nice space of a wall.
Great.
Prints will also manufacture on site for people overseas, and I think Colin's donating or lending some of the collection from the Southampton exhibition of international artists as well. So absolutely, international Techspressionism. 2 thumbs up.
Great. So, we are kind of running out of time now.
Renata,
Yeah.
we skipped over the Instagram idea.
Yeah, well, it's 12:59.
We usually go an hour and a half.
Okay, that's what I wasn't sure about. If you want to talk about the hashtag, and then Sahar, are you ready to present? I think she is.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, I think as my internet is stable now, I think I can present now.
Okay,
Yes.
so if you would go now, and then Michael, the hashtag one is next.
Okay, so can I share my screen?
Please.
Thank you. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you? Yes, okay. Actually, we are lost in a rainy, dark road. We trusted Google Maps. So, can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you see my screen? I cannot hear you.
Yeah, we saw the thumbnails there. Yeah, they're back again.
Okay. Sahar, if these are all on a Google Drive, do you want to share the Google Drive with one of us and we can show them for you?
Maybe she could put I'm sorry, the phone in a landscape way.
Yeah.
Sahar, we're having trouble hearing your audio.
If you send me the link to your Google Drive and share it with me, I'm happy to show it to people for you, and then we probably can hear you. So I'm going to put my Gmail in the chat. That might work for you, work a little better. I think trying to show the visual and talk at the same time may be too much for your internet.
It seems that Sahar is not with us at the moment, but that's a great idea, Cynthia. So as soon as she pops up again, if you could suggest it. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for Sahar, because she did write to me before the Salon today to say that she's in another city and she's not sure about the stability of her internet connection. So without further ado, Michael, if you wanted to explain the hashtag idea.
Sure. So I think one of our big successes has been our Instagram page. Obviously, Colin strategically used the hashtag idea to gain a lot of visibility for Techspressionism in the early days, and it certainly has continued on to today. And I was thinking, is there a way for us to leverage the success of our Instagram page in a way that might be a slight difference from what we've done today? And my idea is that potentially periodically under Renata's astute taking care of the page for us, which Renata, thanks for all your hard work. I know it's a lot that goes into it. My idea was for us to create a hashtag that would be live for maybe like a week, and that if you use that hashtag under a theme, you know, Renata and I came up with something, you know, kind of goofy, like life on Mars, so that then anybody who created artwork that posted to our Instagram page that also had that extra hashtag life on Mars, that would give Renata a way to curate and highlight during that week or at the end of that week the pieces she thought were notable. And that way we would have basically kind of a call to artists to create around thematic ideas, and that we could do that on an ongoing basis. And it would be a way to highlight the artwork based on themes, and also hopefully draw more artists, realizing that we're calling for art specifically around different ideas. So that was, it's an easy way to implement what we already have that we're doing successfully. And I thought it might be an interesting idea for us to give a shot at. And when Renata told me, yeah, she could do that, I thought, okay, cool. So that's the idea.
I'm just trying to figure out how we can publicize this the best way, but for sure the hashtag will say TS, which is short for Techspressionism, X Life on Mars, X football, you know, whatever the theme is that week. And probably 1 week in every month, it'll be happening. So I don't know how to publicize it other than tell everybody, you know. I'll figure out a way of perhaps putting a post up on Instagram about that.
Have you thought about collaborating with people or thought leaders in other arenas that may run contingent to your theme that you want to run? For instance, you know, Life on Mars. I have at least one Twitter follower who is in training at NASA for a Mars mission.
Mm-hmm.
And she started, you know, very early on. And there are others like that. And NASA is very active on Twitter. I remember being invited on at least 2 occasions to attend events at NASA launches based on Twitter involvement. So you might want to contact them and let them know in advance that the Techspressionism Instagram account, and by default the Techspressionist group, we're planning to do a initiative on X regarding life on Mars. Is there a contact person that we can involve? I mean, people who are in training for a specific mission who can tune into the feed. You know, they don't have to create any type of narrative on their own, but maybe just be available to respond to what people post, like saying, yeah, this really resonates with XYZ, you know, that we're doing and that we've been taught or trained to understand. As long as they're not giving away government secrets, it should be all right. So anyway, that's what I'm thinking.
I would think if you just put hashtag NASA, which is their hashtag, along with the other hashtag as separate on a separate line, then they would at least get their attention and it would be less work to contact them.
Right.
And if enough of them go out and say hashtag NASA along with TS, whatever the theme is, I think that would be enough to garner attention by all those people who follow NASA.
Right. They have a huge contingency.
So I think NASA actually has a contact person on their website, and their images are public domain with permission, but they're not really, I mean, it's a little bit of a fuzzy area, whether it's completely public domain. Yes, it's your tax dollars at work for people who are US taxpayers, but you do, I think they would be thrilled. I think it would be better, you know, Karen's nodding. So
I'm nodding. I'm absolutely nodding because I just had an experience with an older radio with NPR, and I was trying to get permission for it from back in the 70s. And I just ended up, couldn't get anywhere by doing, you know, contacting with form emails or anything. Eventually I called somebody who turned me on to the next, and I got the permission within 24 hours. And both the radio station and NPR were thrilled to realize that this archive existed. So I would contact NASA and see if you can talk to somebody.
Yeah. If you can get them to buy
I think we're going to have to move on from this topic because it's really theoretical at this point. We haven't decided what the first hashtag TSX will be, but if it is life on Mars, then thank you very much for all of your suggestions.
Can I just ask a question about lead time for these? Because for me, that's really crucial. We have a topic.
Yeah, it hasn't been fully fleshed out. We have 5 subjects or 5 ideas that we brought up today. I want to give Colin a few minutes to talk about the, you asked to be able to explain. I'm sorry, it was at the beginning of the chat.
The wrong biennial. It's, yeah.
Yes, the wrong, that's it. Thank you, Lee.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So I just wanted to let everyone know now that we're recording that the Wrong Biennial is an online exhibition. It's almost like an exhibition of exhibitions. And Techspressionism has a pavilion this coming biennial, and it will be basically the virtual tour and other associated content from Techspressionism Digital and Beyond, which was the show that was in Southampton. So anybody that was in that show, which there's quite a number of artists, will now also be in the Wrong. And that's going to include, you know, the artist pages and all that other auxiliary content as well. There's also a component of the Wrong called Wrong TV or Wrong.tv, which has video content, and a good amount of the video material associated with the show will be posted there as well, including the commentary or curators in conversation with Helen Harrison and Christian Paul, who's the digital art curator of the Whitney. Helen Harrison is our group advisor, and she's the current director of the Paula Krasner House and Study Center in East Hampton. So it should be, you know, a nice mechanism to drive traffic, to create awareness about Techspressionism, and certainly, you know, I look forward to Tommy's efforts and really appreciate and applaud his initiative for getting a second, you know, large-scale physical show organized. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And for those who want to see the Wrong and check out Wrong TV, the opening of the Biennale is on the 1st of November of this year. Do we have a title for the pavilion, Colin?
Yeah, it's just going to be Techspressionism Digital and Beyond, basically. So it's going to be the show as it's presented on the Techspressionism site, with, you know, some of the content culled out and some, you know, sort of emphasized for kind of a broad audience now that it's an archived event. But yeah, it's basically going to be the virtual show, and I think it's, you know, it's a really nice 3D capture of the space, Southampton Arts Center, and a way to create awareness and, you know, drive some global eyeballs to that exhibition.
Speaking of global eyeballs, the Wrong TV it comes out of Portugal. It's a cable TV station, and it broadcasts 24/7 artists' videos. And the year before last, they were included in Nuit Blanche at the Centre Pompidou in Paris. So the Wrong started out really small, but it is getting bigger and bigger. And I think that it's generating more and more press. If you go to their website, it's thewrong.org. It's all one word, thewrong.org. and you can check the press that's been coming in about the various biennales. So, Sahar, are you there for us?
Yes, I'm here and I have shared my images with Cynthia.
Good.
Thank you, Cynthia. I'm going to present the last two sessions of co-working with Cynthia and others who participated. These are the images that I made 2 weeks ago in the co-working Techspressionism co-working session. I worked on my light photos and for an hour, and I modified them and worked in Photoshop, as you see. Thank you, Cynthia, for sharing. And I had many, like, few images out of my light art and light photos. I usually take photos of car lights at night. And then the last session, last week, I combined these photos. I used these photos with some of my 3D renders, and which we will see now. These are all images I made 2 weeks ago with the Techspressionism co-working. So, and then, yeah. So this is the final image that I made last 2 days ago in the Techspressionism co-working. I collaged the light photos with my 3D renders, and this was the image that we made on Tuesday co-working. Thank you. I'm sorry that I missed that salon because my internet was really unstable. Thank you, Cynthia, for sharing. Thanks.
Okay. I guess I'll stop the share if people.
Thanks.
That was really beautiful, Sahar. Thank you so much.
Really nice.
It
Yes,
seems
I loved it. I see biomimicry in those images. They resemble what I recall of arterial walls, cross sections as seen underneath the microscope. And some of the images also remind me of ultrasound images of various hollow organs, the uterus, the heart.
Thank you.
And whatnot. Is there any feed into your work from the human anatomy realm or the biomedical realm?
I really don't know. When I start working, I really don't have like plan for something, but I start working and I just go on and try different filters and different things, and sometimes it's unconsciously. I think I don't really plan for it or have an clear idea. Actually, my ideas are not clear, but at the end, I reach to some point and a result. But I have to say that these co-working sessions are great. I have made, it's really, really productive. Thanks to Cynthia.
Your work is beautiful.
Thank you.
It's really great to see all the work coming out of the co-working. We really should applaud Cynthia Rubin and Cynthia Di Donato for starting it up, making it happen.
Well, I think we did it because we needed it. So it's thanking all the participants.
We've covered all the 5 points. We said at the beginning that we wanted to try to adopt at least one of them. Personally, I feel we have done that in the form of a real life show organized primarily by Tommy And I feel that Tommy put out a call to people if they wanted to participate as organizers or help in some way behind the scenes. So I feel we have succeeded in adopting one of the 5 ideas. Susan Detroit, do you have a presentation for us?
Oh, sure.
Okay, it's going to be 5 minutes. I'll let you know at
Okay.
the 4-minute mark. Great.
Okay. I'm gonna screen share. I too am attending, I think I've gone every time to the co-working and find it very helpful. And I too take time ahead to think about what I want to be doing. And in my personal life and in my artwork, I am doing a couple things which are that I'm going through things that I've created over time. And in my artwork, I'm doing what I'm calling remastering. And I'm going to show a couple of pieces that I did during the pandemic. I'll just show clips of these. Are you hearing this? I'm gonna stop so I have enough time to show something else. Okay, all right. So that was started. I started that piece in the beginning of the pandemic, and I have several short videos that I was learning how to use CapCut and Motion Leap, and I now use those regularly. Also, another piece that I started as an NFT and then moved it into CapCut to create a new and different piece from the rose response imagery that I've done. Okay, I'm going to stop that. Okay, and then I'm going to show you. This was a movie I started quite a while ago that I remastered and was going to show locally, and it's called the Eugene Mayor's Art Show. So I'm an avid leisure biking person, and I make videos about my biking regularly. And this will show as part of an exhibit in October. Okay. And lastly, this piece I started also in during the pandemic, and I worked on this piece the last co-working session, and also found out through experimentation, through using Motion Leap, which I haven't used in a while. I used it a lot during the pandemic and learning editing, that now there is an AI segment. Oh, I should just play it. That I have started to incorporate with this piece. So I'm using work that was created in a different time and headspace, and then remastering to and using new tools. So, all right, I don't know how much time that is, but
you have 1 minute left.
Okay. This originally played during the pandemic at a local place, a local gallery for an event that was all about things were only shown at night. Okay. I'm gonna stop that and come back, and where am I? Okay.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you. I very much appreciate the co-working space, to be connected to people that do digital work, because where I live, there's not, the artists are mostly two-dimensional, hanging things on walls. So thank you very much.
It's really been great to see the evolution of work over the years. For a lot of us, many people weren't doing animation, and they're now animating, and
yeah,
it's hard.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. I just I also want to say that inspiration and understanding and feeling about digital work, it comes to me through the screen. I'm in Eugene, Oregon, through this group and the co-working, but the Salon has been a pivotal part of my development as a digital artist. So I want to say that out loud.
When I talk with people, I agree with you about the Salon. When I talk with people about Techspressionism, I always say what Tommy Mintz said, because I think he captured it beautifully. He said, Techspressionism, it's life-changing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, I can't say how much I'm happy and thankful. And I don't know how to sum up the meeting we just had. If anybody has any remarks about any of these ideas that were presented, please speak up.
Do I still get to show?
You have 4 minutes, Lee. I thought you were going to show when you back earlier, but it's okay.
Oh, no,
Go ahead.
Oh,
Go
okay,
ahead.
great. Okay, so share screen. So as a lot of people here know, I do these paintings behind me a lot, and I turn them into videos. But I was telling Colin before, and he said, show us the software. Here it is. Okay, show us the software. So I'm opening up DaVinci. I don't know if anybody here has used DaVinci Resolve. I was using Olive when I decided to not use Adobe Express anymore. But I was missing mirrors, which I really miss. I use them a lot with Adobe. Now here's one of my pieces. I'm just going to scooch a little bit forward, because the thing I wanted to talk about with this piece, actually I wasn't able to skip, but the thing I wanted to mention was how when I was a VJ and when I was doing a lot of real experimental film and video in the 90s, feedback was really fun to play with. If you got a really good camera and a good monitor, you can alter the feedback by pointing the camera at the monitor. And what I discovered here, and this is about, it's going to happen in about 30 seconds. And if anybody is oh, that's weird, it just stopped. That's strange. I am so sorry. I don't know why. Oh, okay. So let me just skip ahead. What really was interesting to me was I found that by mixing, because this is all mirrors, and I'm moving mirrors around over my painting. But what I found is what's about to happen right now, feedback. I start to get video feedback from this process of too many mirrors. And I was going to say, if anybody's epileptic, please look away. But what I really wanted to show was those 40 seconds really got me excited, because I started to look at them. Each one is a unique frame, and there's 40 seconds. So there's 1,200 of these. I mean, talk about a generative piece in a weird way. And I know that a lot of them are somewhat similar, but I also think, wow, these are like such dynamic variations on my painting. And if I can find like the top 1%, that's 12. If I can find 12 of these unique pieces, and I have about, in this piece is 20 minutes long, and I have about, how do I stop sharing? I have about 3 minutes total, maybe 4 minutes of those, where it's a different version each frame. And so that's thousands that I get to choose from, and I'm really excited about that. So I just wanted to share that. The actual video is really kind of fun, but it's long and it's a whole process. So I just, this is a really little thing I wanted to share with everybody, that if you use DaVinci, which is my favorite software now for editing video, if you do any video of your stuff, there's a free version. There's also a paid version, which is like $200, and it's for life, as opposed to Adobe charging you a subscription forever. I find it really fun, but it gives you so much control on the mirrors that you can play with this kind of, like, you know, when they build those mirror boxes and infinity boxes, you can get that kind of effects. Like I only showed you one little section, but there's so many variations on the feedback, and to me it's like a brand new type of feedback. And I've always loved video feedback and audio feedback, so it's a new little playground or a little medium to play with, and I really wanted to share that with everybody. So thank you so much, and I think we have a minute left. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Lee. It's always great to see the developments, and those niptychs that you're doing. Do you use DaVinci to edit those?
No, I haven't done any video with those. Those are Lee's. Those are another dumb joke. Well, you were there for the very beginning of it when I thought, how do we do something Canadian? Tim Hortons in a bowl of poutine. No, Bob and Doug in a bowl of poutine. How do we get to Canadian? And then I was like, oh, look at these Canadian artists. So those niptychs, those are just simple. They're like, what's it called? MS Paint. You can flip an image, and if you blow it up to 800, you can really line them up nicely. But you can't do anything else with that, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I don't think it's a drawing tool, but for the niptychs, that's all you need, because those artists are so amazing. So,
could I interrupt?
Please.
And ask you to show us the painting, the original painting.
Oh, of course. Yeah, thank you. Okay, yes. Let me just go back here, and this is so weird. So I'm so sorry. Why am I not able to find it here? Maybe. Okay. Here, yes. This is the original painting. I can even go like this, I think. Will this work? Is it big there for everybody?
You haven't shared.
Oh, okay, I haven't shared. Oh my gosh, I'm such a dummy. Okay, let's try that again. Let's try that again. Zoom, go back to Zoom, go then to share at the very bottom, the big green one, obviously. DaVinci Resolve. And now, and I go now, F. This is the original piece. And like this entire series, it's just one line. It's a continuous line with black on one side and white on the other. It looks really complex, but it's really simple. I mean, I think
we're not seeing I'm seeing your video editor, the editing. I'm not seeing the painting.
Oh, that's horrible. Okay, I thought that you could. Can you see it in the middle of the screen or no?
Yes.
Okay, so I was trying to do it full screen, but yeah, that's the original piece. And yeah, it's a line that I haven't stopped drawing in way too long, like decades and decades, but I've gotten it better. But if you see the actual piece, you can always see a little bit of the graphite of the actual pen. Like I use a nice, like a 6B, and really nice paper, and then ink, and then I'll blow those up onto canvases. And sometimes I'll do something like with the MS Paint, flip it over so that I have the mirrored images and I can make two of the canvases. They fit together in a weird modular way. But I also find that like playing with the I don't know if you can see, I'm scrolling through the video. There's different, with the mirrors, you can get different effects. Sometimes they just blow up into these crazy patterns, and they have this really nice sort of generative moving to it. But I always try to go back to bring it back to the painting and then get into space but what really got me excited was
Thank you, Lee. Lee, we have to wrap it up.
Great.
I'm afraid.
No, that's okay. Thank you so much. Let me stop sharing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I want to say thank you to Michael and Lee both for helping with the moderation today. And there's an after party for anybody who wants to stick around, and we'll probably talk some more about the ideas that we generated. And finally, I just want to say it was great to see both Moritz from Germany, Anton from Russia, and some Canadian artists as well, Deanne, Jan from Toronto, Lee, and myself. Thank you.
And I want to say something. I wanted to invite everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi. I wanted to invite everybody to an event that I'm doing tonight that Cynthia Beth Rubin was kind enough to send a link to. It's work that we were doing as Park Bench and originating the first performance series on the internet and other installations. And I would appreciate it if everybody registered and came and joined us. That's all I wanted to say.
Can you paste a link to the registration in the chat if you can? Oh, you did. Okay, great.
I did. Go back up. And I just want to say we also have Iman here from Iran today.
That's right. Yes, thank you.
Bye.
Okay.
All right, so I guess we are wrapping up. Do any of the moderators have any last words before we close the recording out? You guys all good? All right, well, yeah, I just want to say thank you very much to all the moderators and all of the participants in this experiment called Techspressionism. It definitely has gone way beyond what I ever would have anticipated. So it's really just very gratifying and amazing to hear, the idea that this could be life-changing is just blowing my mind. Certainly has changed my life though. So I'm really happy that all of you guys and gals have been a part of it. So
Thank you, Colin.
Absolutely. All right, so if anyone wants to stick around, we will be having an after party after the recording closes, aka an advisory board meeting. So whoever wants to stick around gets to help direct, where this whole thing goes. And with that, we will cut in 3, 2, 1, and